I will kick. Perfect. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Teal Dunbar, she, her pronouns. I work for Labor's Community Service Agency. Our agency, part of our work is serving laid off union workers in Multnomah and Washington County. And so that's how we are connected with Ariana today, who let us know about the situation coming up with non-renewal. And so we wanted to get ahead of that, get y'all some information you need. It will be recorded entirely. We'll get the link to Ariana to forward out to the membership in the next day or so. We usually just load it up to a YouTube channel and send you the link to that. So easy to send out that way. And we definitely want to make sure this is focused towards the workforce, you know, that we are here to serve. So this, we've got Kelly Duvall, who will be speaking about how to qualify for unemployment insurance, but then specifically speaking to the work that you all do. So I definitely encourage questions, and I encourage using the hand raise, using the chat if that's easier. We will take questions, of course, but if something is pressing and you want to just not make sure you don't forget it, just go ahead and put it in the chat. And we'll just get going. Gabby, could you go ahead and load our PowerPoint? Make Kelly a presenter. All right. Thank you, Gabby. Go ahead, Kelly, whenever you're ready.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am Kelly Duvall. I'm an employment adjudicator with the Oregon Employment Department. I've been with the agency since 2008. One of the areas that I specialize in is school employees and the review that we do during the recess periods. So I'm here to provide information both on how to get your claims started, how to contact us, information specific to school employees and the things that we look at and information that we need for those purposes. Next slide. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. We're going to talk about unemployment insurance first, and then we have some partners that are also going to present some information. The first thing that you want to know is that we do have a wage qualification for unemployment insurance, and you have to have earned enough income or wages from employers over an 18-month period of time, and that's called a base year. What we do is we look at that 18-month period or 5 completed quarters, and then take the first 4 of those quarters with regards to your wages to establish a weekly benefit amount. You have to be not working due to no fault of your own. So the separation is a lack of work, or you've had a reduction in force. That would be no fault of your own. If there's a separation that's due to being discharged or you quit a position, we would have to do an adjudication investigation to complete to determine your eligibility. And during each week that you claim benefits, you must be physically and mentally able to work, available for full-time work, and actively seeking work during each week that you claim benefits. Next slide. And how's your weekly benefit amount calculated? We take 1.25% of your wages that you've established in that base year period for your weekly benefit amount. You do want to know that, again, it is those first 4 completed quarters of a 5-quarter period. You are going to receive what's called a potential wage and benefit report, and that's going to show you the wages that we've used to establish your weekly benefit amount. And if there's any missing wages or you have questions about it, you definitely want to call unemployment insurance to get information. We can do a wage investigation if there's wages missing. So that's really important to review that information. That's one of the first documents you're going to receive from us. You also want to know that currently the minimum weekly benefit amount is $183 per week, with a maximum weekly benefit amount established at $783. If you file your initial claim beginning the week of July 2nd, the Oregon minimum weekly benefit amount increases to $190, with a maximum weekly benefit amount increasing to $813. So if a week would make a difference for you, possibly 2, it could increase your weekly benefit amount if you waited until July 2nd to file your claim for benefits. On our website, there's also a WBA, or weekly benefit amount calculator, that you can use to estimate your weekly benefit amount. Next screen, please. And there's 2 ways to apply for unemployment insurance. You can file your initial claim online, and this starts your claim. You need to have your information available when you start that process, and that would include addresses for your employers, phone numbers, the dates of employment, what your earnings were during that period of time. And you do have to have a 2-year employment history available. So if there's other employers that you've had in the last 2 years, you want to make sure that that information is available to you when you file your initial claim. If you file over the phone, you're going to be asked a series of questions and information to provide in our automated phone system, and then you'll speak to a representative who'll complete that process for you. I would say that for time purposes, it's probably more beneficial for you to file your claim online right now. We do our best for hold times, but we are running between 20 and 30 minutes per call. To file a weekly claim, which is the second step, you have to claim benefits each week that you're unemployed, not working, or making under your weekly benefit amount. And you're stating to us that you are able to work, available for work, and actively seeking work during each week that you are claiming. There is a series of questions that you'll be asked, again, to verify that information and answer those questions. And you would be asked to provide the details of your work seeking activities, which would include 2 direct employer contacts, which are considered resumes out to employers, conversations with employers, applications. One of the things I say is it's how the employer wants you to make contact with them. So if they want you to email a resume, that's considered direct employer contact. Or I use Walmart as an example. They have a kiosk where you go in and you apply. We would consider that direct employer contact. And 3 other work seeking activities. That can be updating your resume, that can be browsing job listing sites, attending WorkSource classes or job-related work search workshops with them, interview practices. But the one thing I would say is it's really important to make sure that you provide the detail to that. So if you're looking online, it would be the search engine that you're using, whether that's Indeed or Monster. If you happen to be on Craigslist, there's probably a job number associated with that. You want to make sure that you're providing as detailed information as possible, including the type of work, the employer, the date, and how you made that contact. Next screen, please. So to access the information, this is a picture of what the website looks like, and you can do My UI Claim and use our online claim system. And you can use that link, or you can call the toll-free number of 877-345-3484. Next screen, please. This is a new way to contact us, and you'll see where the arrow is. It says contact us. This is going to be a yellow ribbon that runs across our screens, and you can ask questions through that query. You can upload documents that we need. You can provide work searches, and you can even have an online chat with someone now. And so that's one of our great new features to be able to use. And you would just access that by clicking the Contact Us. Next screen, please. And this is where you would file a claim for regular UI initial claim filing. And again, You would click the green button that's going to take you into the application to file your claim for unemployment to get the process started. Phone number is there available for you as well as our hours. The one thing you want to know is anytime that you're doing anything online with us, we do have certain periods of time where our system is processing. So you want to be aware of that you don't want to wait to the last minute to claim a week of benefits. The system could be down, we could be processing or doing our maintenance for the night. Next screen, please. The second screen there underneath is where you would claim a week of benefits. So again, you start your initial claim, and then each week that you are unemployed and not working, making under your weekly benefit amount, you do need to file a claim for unemployment benefits. Now, our weeks run just like the calendar week, Sunday through Saturday, and you only have a certain period of time to claim a week of benefits. When the period ends on midnight on Saturday night, you have until the end of the next Saturday to claim. But what I would suggest is that you claim on Sunday or Monday. That processes your benefits sooner in the system. And if there's any problem or anything that you see in reviewing your claim, you have the opportunity to reach out to us and get that resolved before the end of the week, because we no longer have the ability to backdate or take claims certifications more within after 7 days. So if you miss that window of opportunity, you will not be able to claim that week of benefits. And again, it's really important to make sure you have those work-seeking activities available when you're claiming a week of benefits and report those to the agency. Next slide. You also would receive your benefits one of two ways. You have the opportunity to file for direct deposit with us, and you can do that online, and you would complete the information for the direct deposit. If you don't complete a direct deposit, you will automatically receive a Relia Card Visa. And that Relia Card Visa is almost like a prepaid debit card. Your benefits would process to that Relia Card Visa weekly. They're loaded, and then you have the ability to use the benefits off of that card. Now, there are some fees associated with that, so it's really important to read that information that comes with that card. That does come in a plain white envelope. It's not anything that's from the employment department. So it's really important, if you're not selecting direct deposit, that you watch for that in the mail. It looks like a credit card offer, and inside is a debit card from US Bank. Next slide. On our website is the link to actually file for direct deposit. And this is where you would provide the information for your direct deposit so that we can get that started for you. It's really important that if you do select direct deposit, that you have information available when you go to that link. Next slide, please. And this is the page that you would see to go to the direct deposit. So you need your social security number, your PIN, your customer ID number, which is specific to your unemployment insurance claim and is going to be on any piece of mail that you receive from the Oregon Employment Department. So you want to make sure that you have that available to you, as well as your bank account information and routing number. Next screen, please. You also have the option with regards to tax withholding for your unemployment insurance. Now, unemployment insurance is taxable income for both state and federal, but because we send a 1099, you have the option to select whether you would want state or federal or both. And so that is one of the things that you want to make sure that you select when you file your initial claim. Federal is withheld at 10% and state is withheld at 6%. But again, you would receive a 1099 at the end of the year and would need to report that. Next screen, please. So there are certain things that you're required to do for your eligibility. One of those is your iMatch skills, which is putting information into our system with your employment history, the type of work that you have, your experience, your education, and that's done through the system or at your local WorkSource office. Registering with the WorkSource office, or what's called the welcome process, and you would need to meet with a representative from the WorkSource office, either in person or through their remote system. and ID verification. Effective April 20th of 2023, you're required to provide appropriate ID with the local WorkSource office, and you'll receive a letter with the instructions on how to complete the welcome process and the ID verification. Now that has a 14-day requirement to have that completed. If you don't complete that requirement within 14 days, you would be denied unemployment benefits until that is completed. Next screen, please. Attached here is what you would need to provide with regards to the ID verification. Again, this is going to come to you in letter form. You either have to have 2 primary documents or 1 primary document and 2 secondary documents. So it's just really important that you provide that through your WorkSource representative as soon as possible so that there isn't an issue where you could potentially be denied unemployment. Next screen, please. And again, we do have eligibility requirements for each week that you're claiming benefits. You must be both physically and mentally capable of performing work that you're seeking. You must be available for full-time work, part-time work, be willing to accept both temporary or permanent work, and be available during all of the customary hours and days for the type of work that you're seeking. That means that you must be capable of accepting and reporting for suitable work within your labor market. And everyone has their own established labor market based on their address of record when you file your initial claim with us. And again, you do need to be actively seeking work during each week that you claim benefits. And that is 5 work-seeking activities during each week that you claim, with 2 of those being the direct employer contacts where you've applied, you've submitted a resume, you've contacted an employer in person or over the phone, you've had an interview, and 3 other work-seeking activities that can include updating your resume, browsing job sites, or attending WorkSource workshops. Next screen, please. Every person who files a claim for unemployment benefits is required to serve a waiting week. This is the first eligible week that you claim benefits, and no payment would be issued for that waiting week. You do have to file for that week and claim that week for it to count as your waiting week. So you want to make sure that the first week that you're eligible, you get that claim in the system, you claim that week, and then that would become your waiting week. If you travel outside of your labor market and you're away from your labor market for more than half the week, you may not be eligible for unemployment benefits. And under the statute for that, it literally means 84.5 hours, half of the week. So it's really important. If you do travel outside your labor market, that is a question that we ask you every week. We would need to review that if you have. There are exceptions that would allow you to be eligible during the week, but we would have to review and determine that you meet those exceptions. Next slide, please. Availability, again, available means that you should be able to start work with an employer immediately. Potential issues that could preclude you from that would be childcare issues, lack of transportation, if you're sick or hospitalized for more than half the week, if you're attending school, you're self-employed, doing your own business, or you have some restrictions with regards to your shift or hours or days. Any of those availability issues can affect your eligibility for unemployment and would need to be reviewed by an adjudicator like myself. We do have some exceptions currently, which are called flexibility rules. And so we would review that information and determine whether it does impact your availability or if you would be eligible under a flexibility rule. Next slide, please. Unemployment insurance has a life when you file a claim of 52 weeks. That means that in that 52-week period, you have the same established weekly benefit amount. And typically, if you have a larger weekly benefit amount, you would have 26 weeks worth of eligibility within that 52-week period. If you're working part-time or you have a temporary job and you're receiving unemployment, you still may be eligible if you're making under your weekly benefit amount. You would just need to report those hours and earnings during each week that you claim benefits, and you may receive a partial payment for unemployment insurance. When you obtain employment or you make over your weekly benefit amount, there's no need to close your claim. You would just stop claiming benefits. And when you need to claim your begin your claim again, you would just restart your claim with your last employer information, and it would just pick up from where it had if you had available weeks left to be paid. Again, restarting your claim is a two-step process similar to filing a new claim. You would restart the claim that you have, and then you would also claim the week once it's that period of time to claim your benefits. Next slide, please. So I want to stop here and to see if there's any questions with regards to how to file or what to expect, and then we'll move into specific information with regards to school employees. Does anyone have any questions?
It looks like Brian has his hand up. Do you want to jump in there, Brian? Oh, you're muted. Still can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Sorry. Thanks for the presentation, Kelly. So I'm guessing I don't qualify because I only taught for PSU as an adjunct for 1 quarter. So that's basically 3 months.
Do you have other employment?
Not in the US.
What I would suggest is that you file your claim for unemployment benefits, because we do have what we call an alternate base year, which means if you had a certain amount of wages or certain hours in the last completed quarter, you may have eligibility. But if you've worked, so you worked spring term?
I worked spring quarter, and immediately prior to that, I was working for 9 years in Tokyo.
I would suggest you
So
wait till
I'm not sure what to do with that.
you want to wait till July 2nd to file your initial claim. And the reason I say that is that's a new quarter. And so because that's a new quarter, we could look at whether you potentially have enough wages and hours in what we call the second quarter of 2023 to determine whether you have eligibility. I'd hate to have you not claim when you had some eligibility with the wages that you had from spring term, but just don't file until July 2nd.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm kind of similar where I was issued a green card from Canada last year, and so I was working for PSU 2 years before, but I had a year off, and I did a full-time 1-year contract this year. But when we were saying like the 2 years, I had a year before last year that I was not able to legally work at all. Does that affect that ability to claim?
It does not. It just may reduce what your weekly benefit amount would be based on the fact that you would have a year with no wages.
Okay.
Okay, so the next part of the presentation is specific to school employees. And this can be such a confusing piece of unemployment insurance for those that work for educational employers. So one of the things that we have to look at is the law prohibits us from using your wages from an educational employer during what are break periods. So a break period is defined as the period of time when students aren't in session. And at this point, if you're an adjunct instructor, or you work in IT, or you work in the administrative services, even if you don't teach, this could still impact you, because we look at the period of time that the students aren't in session. So for PSU is a term-to-term educational employer. So we look at those break periods between the terms. And so for summer, there's technically 2 break periods. There's the break period between spring term and summer term that we review, which is 1 week. And this year it's the week of June 18th through June 24th, so just last week. And then there's a second break period, which is the period between summer break and, summer term and fall term. And so during those break periods, we have to review your claim and determine specific information and whether you could use those wages from your educational employer during that period of time to establish a weekly benefit amount. So when we do that, we have a specific team of individual adjudicators that are trained specific to what the requirements are. And the things that we look at are whether you have reasonable assurance to return. We look at whether you made more than your weekly benefit amount or worked full-time in the preceding period of time. So in this particular period, we'd be looking at whether you worked full-time, 40 hours a week, or made more than your weekly benefit amount in any 1 week of spring term. We look at whether you have a reduction in force and you're not returning at all, and whether you have a new offer of work in the same or similar capacity. So those are all things that we look at. But again, the break period for PSU is last week, and then we'll be looking at a period of time that is in September for the weeks between summer term and fall term. So it's really important that you don't stop claiming during those periods of time. You want to continue to claim and allow us to make that determination on whether you can use those benefits or not. And there are certain steps that we take in doing that. Could we go to the next screen, please? So this is some information that's available to you online, specific to school employee recess periods. And you would go to the UI Help Center to school employee information. And then there's 2 options. One are frequently asked questions, and one is school laws that apply to you. So that's a really great resource. If you ever need to get some information, find out what we're specifically looking at to determine whether you have eligibility just during that break period. The other great place for information, especially for school employees, is our forms that are available. So if you go to the forms option and you pick claimant forms, next page for me, please. You want to pick form 385E, and that is a school employee questionnaire. And this is what it looks like. And this gives you an opportunity to obtain that information from our website, complete that information, and send that back to us even before we may even get a letter out to you. So this is a great way to jumpstart the process, to complete this, to send this into us. But it's also really important if you have a reduction in force letter from the employer, or you have a contract for the next academic period, that you send that to us as well. We also send a similar form out to the employer, and we'll ask them to complete the same information with regards to questions about your specific employment and whether you have reasonable assurance or not.
Could I ask a question here?
Sure, you bet.
So for we had a large number of people receive notices that said you will not have employment for the next academic year. So we have 2 things going on. We have people who would have had summer classes. They had summer classes on their contract, and then those classes were canceled for so those people, that would be a reduction in their work that they had a contract for that then was eliminated. And then we have the people who would have in a normal year expected employment in the fall, but they were given these emails saying they will not have employment in the fall and would would you speak to how this form relates to those two different situations?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So, adjunct instructors are a little bit different in the review process. The law says, the statutes that we use, that your work doesn't have to be consecutive terms. So if you don't have work for summer, but you have work for fall, we would look at that and you could potentially not be eligible during the break period. But we look at the history. We're going to ask you questions. How many terms have you not worked in the past? If your work is going to be same or similar in fall, you potentially may not be eligible. However, if you are off for a year where you expected a contract, we would consider that a reduction in force, and you would likely be eligible during the recess period. But again, each claim is reviewed on an individual basis with those requirements that we have to review. But the difference is, for an adjunct instructor, it doesn't have to be consecutive terms. So even though you might not work summer, and you typically do, but you're working fall, you may not be eligible during the break periods. But again, for PSU, that's just 1 week between spring term and summer term, and 1 week between summer term and fall term that you wouldn't be eligible. It's not like you wouldn't be eligible for the whole, what would be summer term. It's just that break period.
Those little breaks. So
Mhm.
someone should be able to receive benefits if they were planning on teaching 2 classes in summer and they now have 0 classes in summer during the 2 terms of summer, like when classes are in, they should be able to receive benefits.
That's correct. We're only going to review that break period where students are in session.
Okay, that sounds great.
And that's its only impact, is that period of time.
Okay, thank you.
And to be honest, I looked at the academic calendar for recess periods, and looking at the way the calendar is set for summer term to fall term, it actually looks like there isn't a period of recess. And that's because the last day of school for summer term is a Sunday, and the first day of term for fall is that next Monday. With that being Sunday, we don't have a week. So, but that may be something that comes up at a later date when we're reviewing that in September. But as I looked at the academic calendar, there may not be a period of denial for the what would typically be a recess period between summer and fall term.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have questions about the questionnaire or information that we need? One of the things I would tell you is that when you get to this questionnaire, it's a little bit tricky, because one of the things that we ask for is your highest gross earnings in any 1 week of the academic period. And most are paid by credit, by the number of classes. So it's really important that you do that calculation for us to give us what you make in a weekly period of time for the highest week of the quarter. And so that might take a little math, but that is one of the things that we do have to determine whether we have to review that or not.
I see Teal. You want to ask a question?
No, go ahead. I just had a question about the form, but you should go ahead.
Are
I
you
was
sure?
also-
We're right here. I'm really good with that.
My whole question with this form, just for these workers, is so in theory, this comes in the mail, right? But you're saying they can get ahead of it by finding it on the site, and they can send it through the contact us form proactively.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Cool.
absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. And you know what? That benefits us too, because we're able to get in there and get that reviewed right away.
And on this form for us, we would select ourselves as being part-time. And I think our contracts officially call us temporary, even though we get renewed over and over again, year after year. Does it, if we put ourselves as temporary, does that disqualify us from getting benefits?
It does not. It does
Okay.
not. We're gonna look at that, and you may get a call from an adjudicator. There may be enough information on the form from you and the employer that we don't even need to make that call.
Okay,
So no, it doesn't. It wouldn't impact.
thank you.
Mhm. We understand that adjunct instructors are term to term. We understand that. So. Okay, next slide. So we do have a couple of new House bills that went into effect. And I'm not sure if this would affect anybody on this call, but I wanted to make sure that you had the information available to you. Those House bills now tell us that there are certain job classifications we no longer have to review for school employee recess periods. You're exempt from the process. And that's the operation of maintenance or facilities, janitorial services, food preparation and service, early intervention services and support services for that, as well as pre-K services. So if you are in one of those classifications, excuse me, I have hiccups all of a sudden. One of those classifications, it's really important on the job title information on your initial claim filing that you tell us that instead of saying manager, that you would say food service manager, or teacher, that you would say pre-K teacher, so that we can see if you meet one of those exceptions and then not have to go through the review process. Okay, next slide. So that's all that I have. Does anybody have any questions at this point with regards to what the expectation would be? One thing I would let you know that this process only, again, stops that 1 week of review. You would get, as soon as you claim that next week that you're out of the recess period, you would begin to receive benefits again if you meet all the other eligibility requirements. It's just impacting that 1 week currently of review.
Is it helpful for these workers, since they're getting non-renewal notices, which is atypical? Would that be something to include sending to you as well, like screenshots if it's digital?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any information that you have like that, and we would consider that a reduction in force letter or non-renewal letter, that is very beneficial to us. The one question then we would have is, do you have an offer from another educational employer for the next academic period?
Now is a good time if anyone has questions for Kelly. Kelly, that was so thorough. Thank you for including all that really vital information.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kelly.
Of course.
Yeah. Ariana, do you have any questions?
I don't at the moment. I think there was a question in the chat about if there's a direct link to that form.
Oh, that's a good question.
There is, you have to go online
Okay.
onto our site and go to forms. And maybe we can go back to that screen, Gabby, if that's possible. There we go. Oh, one more. So, go what? There it is. So under our website, you can go to the forms, and you want to make sure that you filter your search by claimant forms, which is with a little arrow there on the right-hand side showing you where to do that. Once you do that, you want to go to 385-E, and that is the form, which is a school employee recess period form for claimants. And that's where you would access that format.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
385-E for claimants.
E. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you able to stay on, Kelly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So in case questions pop up a little later, Kelly will be here. Thank you,
Right.
Kelly. That was so thorough.
Brian, did you have another question?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Sorry. So Kelly, what's the name of the organization that you work for? It's
I'm with the
Oregon.
Oregon Employment Department. I'm actually in unemployment insurance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we will move on now. If we are good, let's have Frederica from WorkSource take over. Gabby, I think if you want to let Frederica screen share, is that, you want to do that, Frederica? You want to, okay.
Totally. Thank you.
Gabby will make you, she will give you the credentials and
Let me know when you can see it.
it says I'm viewing your screen, Frederica. I think we're good.
You see the slide you said? Oh, perfect. Wonderful. Hi, everyone. My name is Friederike, and I work for an organization called IRCO, Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization. We're here for not only immigrants and refugees, but for the community at large. We are one of the partner organizations in the so-called Aligned Partner Network. And that network is OED is also part of it, and everything goes under the roof of WorkSource. So I don't want to confuse anyone, but everything is under the roof of WorkSource. We are all WorkSource, but every WorkSource center in the region, one is in Beaverton, one is in Tigard, one is in Gresham, one is us, Northeast, and which one did I forget? Southeast. Every center in the region has a community partner located at the center. And that's a fantastic idea because that means we can connect folks to all sorts of community organizations and all sorts of programming and all sorts of resources. And not only even related programs related to workforce development, but we go beyond really and try to help with housing, rent assistance, healthcare enrollment. So we really benefit. Everyone benefits from being part of this large network in the metropolitan area because it is just such a rich resource hub. If you walk in one of our WorkSource centers, you will meet one of the organizations that I just mentioned. One is Mount Hood, one is PCC, one is Southeast Works, and one is IRCO, which is us. And we are located at 30 North Webster Street, WorkSource Northeast. What WorkSource offers, just as a broad, big overview, is anything related to employment. So we are going away from unemployment now, we're shifting to employment, and that's career counseling, career exploration. We give job leads, we help with job search. We do give out funding for schools, for class, for certifications, for work tools, for a car repair to get to your job, for rental assistance. I mentioned that, to bridge maybe the time between unemployment benefits ending and your first paycheck in your next job. So we do bridge that gap and try our best, even utility assistance, whatnot. We also have tons of career workshops, and I'm going to show you which button to click to access these workshops. They range from resume writing to career exploration. I mentioned that, to soft skills, interview skills. If it's been a while before you've done your resume and you just don't know if it's looking good or not, or if something is missing, why don't you attend one of our workshops? They come weekly and they're just full of expertise, and they are ready. We are ready to look at your resume and tailor it to your needs. And then we have funding for short-term vocational training, and that's really the team that I work for, the so-called training team. So if you think that this time is a good time to go back to school, to go back to class, to go back to a training or even a career shift, why not consider a training? And we can fund short-term vocational trainings. And I'm going to go into details a little bit more after, I have shared the slides for you, which talk a little bit more about registration. One is, so let's start from the beginning. You would complete, the first step is always to complete your image skills profile. Once this is completed, you will be invited for a meeting. We call it a one-on-one. We call it a welcome conversation. And that really is a conversation to assess your needs and your requests and to navigate you in the right direction. WorkSource always welcomes walk-ins. If you say, I don't know where to start, you just walk in and you will get a career specialist, and they'll help you with your image skills. Once you have completed your welcome and your image skills profile, you could also, by the way, schedule it online. You could, I put the link on the slide. If you like to schedule a one-on-one appointment online, you can do that. You can also schedule an appointment per phone. So whatever you prefer, we're up for it. So let's say you're registered. That's one of the screens that you will see. So go to My WorkSource. When you click on that thing, and you can see in the top of the slide, www.worksourceportlandmetro.org. That's the regional WorkSource website. You would click on go to My WorkSource, and then you'll come to a screen, and you just click on create your account. So, and that will route you to image skills. So I'm going to also show you the option. If you like to think broad and not only Portland Metro, you can also go statewide and say, I'm going to start here. I'm going to go statewide WorkSource Oregon. You can see it in the top, worksourceoregon.org, and you would click on job seekers. It's the same thing. It's just some people prefer that to the other. So you would click on job seekers, and you would scroll down a little bit, and you'll see already in the blue ribbon, you see the image skills in the blue button, and then you see My WorkSource. So I'm going to just quickly reiterate the difference, or start explaining the difference between image skills and My WorkSource. Image skills is required. You got to do it to receive unemployment benefits. But also, it's a great matching system. The more detailed you are in plugging in your work history and your skills and your certifications and whatnot, the more detailed the system can respond and match you with jobs available. So the more time you take and do it properly, the better the system will work for you. That is image skills. And the other huge platform and the service that we offer is called My WorkSource. And that really is an interactive website for you. You can see all the resources, you can access workshops, you can access great trainings. I'm going to show you in the next slide. So that is really, if you are really up for it and you want to manage your own job search portfolio and create your own portfolio and manage your job search, you want to upload your resumes, you want to get reminders for your interviews, you want to, I mean, that is really a great platform to do that. That's called My WorkSource. And I'm going to go to the next slide. This is what your landing page for My WorkSource looks like. You have a little bit wonky red circles from me. This morning, I couldn't find the proper pen. I circled the Find Jobs for you on top. Find Jobs is the largest job search platform in Oregon because it combines not only Indeed, but also Monsters and Craigslist and WorkSource. So if you really want to have a range of job postings, go to that instead of Indeed. It's just a small piece of advice because it's bigger, it's more comprehensive. So that's the Find Jobs. And then I circled the workshops. I talked about it earlier. Workshops also a great a great variety of workshops that the different worksource centers offer. If you think, I don't know where to start, why don't you start with a workshop? Because they will be inspiring, I promise. So that is where you click sign up for workshops, you plug in your region, and then you'll plug in, I think, a key search, and then you'll find whatever you need. And then I also circled the Metrics Learning platform, which is an online training, a free online training platform that accumulates hundreds, if not thousands of trainings, free for you, available for you. You just need to navigate and search, and you'll have it free. And the only thing that you might have to pay for is the certificate in the end. But that's also what we are here for. If you need the $200 for a certification after you've done an online training for 4 weeks or so, let's say IT, we can pay the $200 if you just contact us. So Metrics Learning is a great platform if you really want to hone your skills in a certain direction. You can navigate through lots and lots of things. So if you want to take the time and dig deep, you will get rewarded for sure. And then lastly, I circled the Prosperity Planner. That is the budget that we do need if you like to apply for a training scholarship. And we will request a Prosperity Planner from you. And this is where you get, where you go and where you click and where you can find the budget, a tool, and you just plug in your expenses, and it'll calculate how much you make and how much you have in the end available. And that is, we go from there. If we are reviewing your training scholarship application, which we do every week, by the way. So all you got to do is, if you're interested in a training, and I'm going to go to the next slide. Again, here we are at the WorkSource Portland Metro website. If you click on the right side, training and education, you will find, the eligible training provider list. So that's the thing. Your desired training needs to be on the eligible training provider list. So you would click on here, on this blue link, and you will see it's a long list of available trainings in the area of healthcare, construction, manufacturing, IT, and I forgot one, IT, healthcare, construction, manufacturing. Did I say? It's a long list. So if you click on that link, you can get inspired. If you're really not sure which direction you might want to get inspired by this list of trainings that are available in all these schools and training providers and colleges and whatnot around in this area. If your training is not on here, not so good, but please still don't hesitate to contact us. We can find a way around. We can work with you. We want to work with you, even if your desired training is not on the list. I think, so just quickly listed, again, a lot of tracking, a lot of IT, accounting, healthcare, that starts from pharmacy tech, goes to medical billing and coding, to nursing, medical aid, medical assistance, lots and lots of IT trainings as well, management, the PMP management workshop, lots and lots of trainings that we can help fund. And that's it. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank
My
you.
turn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. That was, I love your new slides. Thank you. Those were great.
Do you have questions?
I just had a comment to back up what you were saying, that when people walk into these WorkSource offices, there's computers available, printers, any kind of support you might need with the application process, just a myriad of good free resources available at these offices. So definitely take advantage of them. And I think now we'll hand that off to Debbie to talk about kind of the other side of WorkSource, kind of once you get through the processes Frederica spoke on, that's when you're ready for the regional business services team to step in and help with the job hunt. So Debbie, I will let you take it away.
Yes, thank you. I'll be quick. Business services is really the employer-facing piece of WorkSource. So we do collaborate closely with the career specialists that Frederica mentioned. We are located really in all the WorkSource offices. There are not a lot of us, only 7 or 8 of us regional business services specialists, but we rotate around. We actually go to all the offices. So at any given time, you would see us in Beaverton, Tigard, North Portland, Gresham, Oregon City, Southeast, and so on. If you ever want to see someone, and I am here because we are sector specific, and my sector is education. So we work closely with employers to build relationships so that they understand our iMatch system and post jobs in the state's largest job board. We help them with labor and market information and employment information because they need employees, and that is not always an easy line to draw. So it is our role to help them to fill their positions through posting. And if at times we will actually do customized recruitments where we take charge of the recruitment entirely, and we post the positions not only on our iMatch system, but on LinkedIn, Indeed, Handshake, whatever is appropriate, and really take the recruitment and try to get the right candidates for them. So we work with the career specialists in all of the WorkSource offices, with partners, the various community colleges and nonprofits that are located in those offices. We keep apprised of labor market conditions and try to keep employers informed about appropriate wages, laws, hiring strategies. And so that's really our role. You're welcome to reach out to me as the education sector specialist. I'm happy to have conversations with you about any of your needs. I also put my contact information and quality info website. Qualityinfo.org is a wonderful tool that employers and job seekers alike can get a lot of great information and job leads from. So that's really what we do. And I've brought us up to the noon hour. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Debbie. All right. We will wrap it up then. Thanks everyone. We'll get the recording out, and that way the union can send it to the members. And thank you all for making a very quick reschedule happen.
Thank you, Teal.
I appreciate y'all so much. So much. All right. We can stop recording, Gabby. Everyone have a good weekend.